Jesus, come to me. Oh, my Jesus, come to me. Come to me, oh, come to me. Come to me, oh, come to me. I want only thee. I want only thee. Oh, my Jesus, come to me. Come, oh, come to me. Come, oh, come to me. Hello, friends, and welcome back to our unpublished writings of Paramhansa Yogananda. My name is Nayaswami Hriman, and I'm continuing in a series for my broadcasts, at least, from the Beatitudes of Jesus Christ for the sake of this season of Christmas. And today we're on the third Beatitude, Blessed are the meek, for they shall inherit the earth. If you watched my prior broadcast, I ended it with asking you a question. Do the meek ever inherit the earth? Well, of course they don't. And so what does Jesus mean here? As I indicated in the prior broadcasts, the secret to understanding the deeper meaning of Beatitudes, and they were given for true disciples, not just for the general public, as I explained in last week's, or whenever the broadcast was. The key is in the Beatitude itself, for they shall inherit the earth. Who then inherits the earth? Well, one simple way of translating the word meek would be the harmonious, the people who get along with other people who, like the first Beatitude, poor in spirit, people who are egoless, who aren't ego-affirming or combative in their demeanor, unlike myself. And so people who are harmonious, they love everybody in a not a personal sense, but they're loving by nature, they're understanding and compassionate, they see the realities naturally in other people. And you can't do that simply by conscious affirmation of willpower. Oh, you can try it, but it's hard to sustain that. What we're talking about are people who have a deeper love for God, who are trying to channel God consciousness. Such people are naturally seek to be harmonious, naturally seek to consider the realities of others. Such people make friends wherever they go. And so inheriting their earth means they love nature, they love all creatures. Think of a St. Francis, for example, the birds of the air, and even that old rascally wolf of Gubbio. He befriended everybody, not with his personality, but with the love of God in his heart. That's what's meant by blessed are the meek. Those who have that love of God in their hearts, they naturally make friends with everybody. Okay, the next one is, blessed are they which do hunger and thirst after righteousness, for they shall be filled. Well, we can't really look at the blessedness, the beatitude of being filled, to really get much of a key here in this case, I admit. But in Yogananda's writings, if we will substitute the word righteousness, substitute the word dharma, to do that which is right and good and true for righteousness, then it can make more sense. Why? Because like the meek who never inherit the earth, do those who seek justice and equality, well, I don't know what it would mean to be filled, but I suppose satisfied, we could say, huh? But justice and inequality, oh, maybe this individual will sue somebody and get their day in court, I suppose. And, with respect to racial prejudice, there have been advances both in consciousness and in legislation and that kind of thing. But let's face it, on that subject alone, we have a long way to go. And so, the bar keeps being moved, the goal line keeps being moved when you think of injustice and inequality on the planet Earth, generally speaking. As Jesus said, the poor ye shall have always with you. Swami Kriyananda once wrote some lessons in discipleship for his fellow monks at Self-Realization Fellowship back in the 1950s, and I think it started out with, don't expect to be fairly treated. Don't expect justice in this world. The world, we should strive for it, of course, and some people have the dharma to do so and to help others. I'm not saying we shouldn't make things better as we find them, but that the world, the very warp and woof of what makes the world go round, produces good and bad in vying for supremacy all the time. So the righteousness being spoken here is not the earthly righteousness of solving all of humanity's issues of injustice and inequality. Righteous means dharma. And so what Yogananda talked about, and also the hunger, you think of hunger, if hunger means the desire for material pleasures and satisfactions and wealth and health and so forth, that's never going to happen without some threat or another. The rich wonder whether their wealth will be lost. The healthy wonder if their health will be lost. Those who have human love may wonder if they'll be betrayed or their loved one will die, which of course is a certainty. So it's, as Yogananda would put it, desires ever fed are never satisfied. Never fed, ever satisfied. Now we should have wholesome desires and, food and shelter and meaningful work, those kinds of things. He's not talking about being a doormat here. But those who hunger and thirst after righteousness are those who seek the truth, who seek to do good in everything they do. Now, if they do it with the sense of, I am doing, it will never be satisfied. They will not be filled. It cannot be satisfied because that's an affirmation of ego, of doership. But those who seek the truth are those who realize that we are instruments of divine consciousness. And so what Yogananda explained is such people have had a smriti, a recollection, like the prodigal son I've mentioned before, will have a taste, a remembrance for the bliss and the satisfaction of soul consciousness. And having had a memory or a taste of that heaven, kingdom of heaven as it were, they seek it. And they seek to do good. They seek to do what is right in their lives in order to work towards working out their karma and to work towards inheriting the kingdom of heaven, which is our divine inheritance. So it's those who have been fired with the flame of righteousness, the flame of wanting to get off the wheel of samsara. That's what Jesus was talking about. Okay, darn, I don't have a timer on, but maybe I will do one more, okay? Blessed are the merciful, for they shall obtain mercy. This one is perhaps the easiest to see. As you sow, so shall you reap. Love thy neighbor as thyself. The yogi, Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, feels the joys and sorrows of all beings and creatures. Or as a joke once said, a man who was on trial, the judge said to him, "How do you plead, sir?" And he says, "Oh, Your Honor, I pleads for mercy." And so those of us who are merciful, compassionate, understanding, and accepting of others will more likely find that from others. I'm sure there's a deeper aspect to this rather than just tit for tat, as it were. As you live, as you treat others, so will you be treated. But on the face of it, on the face of the very words, it does have that common sense conveyance of wisdom, that common wisdom of the golden rule, do unto others as you would have them do unto you. So I don't know that we need to go particularly deeper. One commentator that I stumbled upon made the comment that in the Old Testament, there are multiple definitions in the Psalms and Isaiah and I forget the other ones that describe and define God's overriding character as merciful. Well, when you think of being condemned to hell, I just don't know what to make of that. But that's what this one commentator said, that the very nature of God is merciful. And that's illustrated in the beautiful story that Jesus gave of the prodigal son. Okay, I'm going to end this broadcast now, and we'll see you later.